Lovely to see so many of you here. And I need to say a huge thank you to Lauren and Abby and the whole team at LoveAdmin for putting on this webinar for everybody this morning. Our goal is to share with you really useful content that you can start using these strategies in your business straight away. And we wanted to provide this for you at an optimum time to actually be reaching out to your schools and nurseries at the start of the academic year. And it is a fantastic time to be getting rolling with this. I'll talk about that in just a moment. For those of you who don't know me, you haven't some of you have come through me, but some of you have come here through LoveAdmin. If you don't know me, my name's Cerys Keneally. I am all about approaching schools and nurseries. It's fantastic to be working with a LoveAdmin on this. And the strategies I'm going to be sharing with you is actually completely new content. I'm going to be presenting in an entirely different way to how I have done previously. For those of you who are aware of me and my methods, you might be hearing something a little bit new this morning as well. So if you don't know me, I am a TEDx speaker. I am a trainer who provides industry-leading training on approaching schools and nurseries with a particular focus on children's activities, but I also work with a lot of therapy, education providers, and also its activities, services, and products as well. And the premise of what I do is all about helping you build a stable business. And we're going to talk a lot more about how, even with kind of the current changes to education, the changes to the recent economy, you can still build a very stable business in this time by working with schools and nurseries. I know a lot of providers say to me, I just want to make an extra £1,000 or £2,000 per month, and then I feel like the pressure will be off then. And some people are looking to approach schools because they want to grow a team. Some people are looking to approach schools because they want to franchise their business. Some people are literally just looking to approach schools because they've started a brand new business and maybe they're fresh out of teaching or another career. So it is a strategy that you very much can deploy in your business, no matter what business level you are at. Some people have already got established businesses but haven't approached any schools. A lot of people have tried approaching schools in the past and not got much response, which is where my free challenge came from, which I will talk about at the end of this training for those of you who want further help with your implementation. But let's get going this morning, because we have got lots to get through over the next 45 minutes. Now, this is my vision. I thought it would be really important to start off with this. You will all have your own vision for your business. Some of yours might be bigger than mine. Some of yours might be smaller than mine. This is mine. And these were actually my closing words, or some of my closing words at my TEDx talk, which was all about how you can share your skills with schools to future-proof your community. And I want you to imagine a world where every child is excited to go to school and the positive ripple effect that that could have. How amazing would it feel to be part of that change? Because when we help children to feel excited to go to school, amazing things happen for you in your business, for the children that attend your activities and classes, for the schools themselves, and also, as I shared in my TEDx talk, for the future of your community as well. Schools have high priorities. We're going to talk today about what I've identified as being the 7 critical challenges that schools face right now. And one of their priorities is attendance. We know schools need to get to grips with their attendance, but what we also know is that there is a crisis at the moment with so many children not even attending school. In fact, the numbers have doubled since before the pandemic now of children that are avoiding schools for emotional reasons. And that's obviously putting huge strain on schools who are already trying to make sure that children are attending every single day. But I have providers that I work with in the Approaching Schools Academy who have even said to me, well, there are children that come to my classes, that come to school on the days that I put my classes on. And those are children that parents struggle to get them to school on a daily basis. So it never underestimate how far you're actually going to do your bit to really help schools with their priorities. Curriculum and attainment is obviously huge. There's lots we have to talk about today, but I would love you to just pop in the chat box for me what your vision is for your business. Why are you here? Why are you spending the next 45 minutes learning about how to grow a stable business by working with schools and nurseries? Let me know what it is you want to achieve for you, for your family, for your business, for your wider community. Pop some notes in the chat box for me now. I would love to know. And if anyone has just joined us, please could you just make sure that you are muted, just so we don't get any feedback with lots of you on. So pop it in the chat box, then there'll be a chance for Q&A later if you've got questions as well. Now, as LoveAdmin have shared with you, this training is all about how you can get your class into schools and nurseries. Now, the reason I say class is because this is an acronym for one of my strategies for helping providers to build a stable business. So I will come on to that in a moment. I'm going to have a little look in the chat box and see what you were all saying. So John is here because he wants to get children excited about exercise. Love that, John. Nice to see you here. Ryan says to help as many children as possible build confidence through creativity. Ryan, I love that. My big mission in life is building creative confidence. When I had my dance business and I was trying and testing every different method of getting my dance business into schools and nurseries, it was all about confidence. So it wasn't about being the best dancers. It was about getting everybody in the room. We didn't have anyone dancing at the back of the stage or anything like that. It was all about building confidence. So I love that, Ryan, that's part of yours as well. Laura, to make dance classes accessible to everyone. That's so important, isn't it? Inclusivity is a big thing. And if you can communicate that with schools and nurseries, they're going to realize that you align with some of their critical challenges as well. Ensure all primary children have access to science and practical activities. Love that. I'm going to be sharing some successes of some of my providers that I've worked with in the past who have got practical science into schools. So I think you might like to hear that. So stay tuned for the end because I'm going to be talking about that then. Jennifer, want to empower kids with skills to manage their emotions and physical mental health so they have it in adulthood. Empower is such a good word, isn't it, for the real transformation you're going to be achieving. And you just get to have such a bigger impact working with schools and nurseries, which is what I love. There are children that would never get to come to our classes otherwise if we don't go to them. I've seen a huge shortcoming in sports provisions for schools with SEN. Yes, we're going to talk about SEN today. Absolutely, you've noticed a gap in the market, but also something that's a real need, something that you can really help with. I want children to love stories and be confident in themselves. I love that. One of my clients, Zoe, Sam, does exactly that. She does storytelling, and her biggest passion is helping fulfill a love of stories in children again. And that's what she loves. In some cases, she just loves even providing the demos, whether or not a school's going to buy from her at the end, but they often do, just because she's instilling that love in the early years of stories. It's brilliant. Busy Brains activity packs. I've created a product to help children learn their times tables in a fun way without screens. That's amazing. Really, really good. Carmen, I want to show people that learning a language is important for social reasons, but as well will benefit their children mentally, academically, and professionally. Absolutely. We can talk about academics, we can talk about mental health today. Sarah, how helping children avoid getting bitten by dogs by teaching and understanding dogs and body language, stopping children being scared of dogs. It's lovely to see you here, Sarah. Sarah came in person to my TEDx talk. So amazing. I just love the diverse nature of everybody we get on these trainings. Ali, I want to feel confident approaching schools to work with children using comedy to help them with their mental health and self-awareness. That's amazing, Ali. Nice to see you here. Paul, I work for a school and we're wanting to increase the size of holiday club provision, making sure the process of booking and paying is easy and simple for parents. Great. Well, great partnership for you today then that you get LoveAdmin on side as well. Ross, to create positive associations with sports and physical exercise, regardless of ability. Love that, Ross. Important in schools, right? Because differentiation is huge. There's so many different levels of ability in a school. You get everything, don't you? Michelle, I work for theatre. I'm keen to develop relationships with schools, and that's what today's all about, developing relationships. So you're in the right place. Key stage one to higher education, not only open up the world of arts and theatre, build relationships, opportunities, accessibility. There's a common theme here, isn't there? I love the kind of the synergy between you all and what you want to achieve. Sammy, we deliver tailored workshop programs focused on creativity, well-being, and employability. Our workshops nurture creativity and sustainability while teaching essential employability skills. We collaborated with schools to enhance inclusive academic offerings and enrichment opportunities. I love that. Couple more. Louise, babies in nurseries, love that. Want them to see their parents be themselves. Immerse in their joy of singing their favourite songs. We sing in parenthood. Louise, I love that take on it, to see their parents be themselves. That's amazing. And over the last year, I've been immersed in baby classes myself, and they're just phenomenal. You do absolutely phenomenal work. And now that nurseries are going to be taking children so young, from kind of, in England at the moment, the funding is coming up right from 9 months, isn't it? So, I have a client who teaches yoga in baby classes, in nurseries, and the nursery is able to say to parents, we've got external providers coming in to enrich the baby room, to help the children there. So it's a great time to be contacting nurseries. We hear lots of horror stories, don't we, about nurseries not being able to afford things now that the free childcare hours are coming in. But for every nursery that can afford external activities, they all need you. They all need baby classes. And for anyone noticing any up and down in their community classes, it's about getting that stable income from nurseries as well. And last one, Zane, offer competitive sport for children who cannot access it out of school. It's a sign of the times, isn't it? I'm going to talk about the economy a little bit, not to bore you all, but to explain why this is super important. You get going with it right now and you don't delay. Let's get started, everybody. It's lovely to see what you're all doing. Lovely to hear your vision. So this is what my class strategy is all about. Write this down or take a picture. Cultivating, lasting, academic, sales, success. Cultivating is all about building relationships. We'll come on to each one in more detail and what you need to implement this year to have a stable business working in education. It's all about relationship building. Somebody mentioned it in the chat just now. You are building relationships. Schools and nurseries are not bricks and mortar. They are people. They are groups of people, and there are people in these schools that want to help the children this year. And you need to cultivate relationships with those people, with subject leaders. Subject leaders in schools are going to be your greatest influencer. Some of you here are providing sports. You want to connect with the PE leads on their level, okay? We are cultivating relationships today. Lasting, you need a lasting strategy that's not only going to bring you in a more predictable and profitable income so that your business can go on and scale and do amazing things in your communities, but you need something lasting for the schools as well. What's more valuable to a school or nursery? You going in and doing a one-off workshop and saying, hey, that was great, see you later, or you going in and seeing every single year group and working with them for at least an entire year? What's more valuable to a school? We need a lasting partnership. Academic, we're going to talk about the 7 critical challenges for schools, but top key priority, the reason any school or nursery exists, academic. We need to make sure that our activities are tapping in to those key priorities. Even if you're only here to learn how to get a club into schools, which is extracurricular, you still want to show them how it aligns with the curriculum, because there's more value in that for schools. Sales. You wouldn't have a business without sales, but you wouldn't believe, over the last 5 years of working with thousands of different children's activity providers, how many people shy away from the sales. Who here feels awkward about selling? Who here feels a bit icky? Who's got the ick about sales? Who here feels like, oh, I'm going to handle objections and I don't know how to do that? Who's like not feeling confident with their side of the business because so many providers are doing things like delivering free tasters. Now, there's nothing wrong with delivering free tasters. It's a big part of my methodology. But the problem with delivering free tasters is when you run away afterwards. That's the issue in your business, is if you're not connecting the dots, if you're not connecting the marketing with the sales by bridging the gap with your demo. Okay, so a free taster can still work for you so long as you also have a sales strategy in place. And I think that's going to be key moving forward in 2024 to 2025 in the new academic year, is making sure that that sales strategy is in place, because it is going to be harder for you without it. Like, just delivering free taster doesn't help anyone really. But if it's part of a comprehensive sales strategy, it can still very much work for you. And I'm seeing this across the board in so many different niches. And success. It's inspiring to hear other people's success. You want success in your business, but I'm here to tell you it is a win-win-win solution for schools and nurseries. When you partner with them, it's not you selling your services to schools and nurseries. Everybody is getting something out of it. Everybody is getting value, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive into these strategies then. Cultivating first. I mentioned this as relationship building. So this is all about how building and nurturing relationships with key decision makers in schools or nurseries will make you stand out this academic year. Who are the key decision makers? Let me know in the chat box. You might have heard the term SLT. You might see SLT written down in this webinar today. In this instance, I'm not talking about speech and language therapies. In this instance, I'm talking about the senior leadership team. Who are the senior leaders in schools and nurseries? Anyone that's had experience in schools and nurseries, maybe you're a former teacher yourself, maybe you've worked in a few schools and nurseries. Who are they? Let me know who is the key decision maker in your school or nursery that you want to contact, okay? Because some subject leaders are senior leaders, but not all of them. So whereas your subject leaders are going to be really excited about you providing some kind of demonstration, taster, assembly, something like that, they're not always going to be the people you sell to at the end of the process. So it's important to understand who the key decision makers are. Who are the members of the senior leadership team? And if it's a private nursery, this will be quite easy for you. But if it's a school, they're made up of several different roles and responsibilities. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Yeah, so Jennifer's saying head teachers, governors, subject leads. Ryan, it is different at every school, and that's why I can never say to you, you've got to contact one particular person, because you don't know who's in charge of clubs at that school. You don't know who's necessarily in charge of PPA at that school. So it will be different in every school. You're absolutely right. And in some schools, some subject leads have more autonomy than others. So sometimes, for example, the maths coordinator and the literacy coordinator will also be in senior leadership roles, because they're delivering core subjects and they're responsible for those core subjects in the schools. And they might also have like a key stage 1 lead and a key stage 2 lead, for example, like responsibility and within their role. But that doesn't mean that, for example, you might be delivering art, but your art coordinator hasn't got much budget. I can say that because I was the art coordinator when I was a primary school teacher, and I didn't have very much budget because everyone was buying their Pritt stick, sugar paper and poster paints with my budget. So I had to speak very nicely to other subject leads and the senior leadership team to get budget to bring external providers in to enrich art. It can be done, even though I didn't really have a budget for it. Okay. I'm going to share a quote with you that I share with everybody later about why that's key to understand that. You might hear all this news about schools and nurseries not having budget. They'll find it if they see the value. Louise said that's me. Sammy said SLT member responsibility for enrichment opportunities. Yeah, and as Ryan said, we don't always know who that's going to be. Business managers, heads, extracurricular coordinators, secretaries. So your senior leadership team is made up of head teacher. If there's an assistant head teacher, yes, we have an assistant head teacher in the Approaching Schools Academy. She's our curriculum expert who does a monthly call with everybody. Deputy heads, teachers, SENDCOs, business managers, and head of governors. Those are essentially your senior leaders, and then you might have like a key stage one coordinator and a key stage two coordinator. So if it's a primary school, that's there. In a secondary school, you've got more heads of department. It's a little bit different in secondary schools. In nurseries, depends if the nursery is attached to a school. So you might have an early years coordinator, a foundation stage lead. Private nursery, you've got the nursery manager, but you've also got the people that sit in head office as well, haven't you? So it is different in every setting, but essentially your senior leadership team kind of all have very similar roles across the board. Yeah, for me, for you, head of maths career leads, PSHE leads, those are your influencers that you want to contact. If the school is an academy of several schools under one umbrella, is it the academy manager worth contacting? Most of my approaching schools academy members have found it's the head of school in most cases. But once you're in and you've done a demo at that one school, get them to put in a good word for you with the people that sit in the office above that in terms of the people that are actually running the multi-academy trust to see if you can get in multiple schools. Okay. And one of my Approach Schools Academy members did this and got into 7 schools. You know, just by delivering that one demo, suddenly they were in 7 different schools. One of my members does it with private nursery chains as well. She was in 5 nurseries. So she had a nursery every single day, just by doing one demo in one nursery that happened to be part of a chain. So that's worked really, really well for them. Yeah, Michelle says identify the department heads. Don't bore them. You've only got about 10 seconds. I would say you've even got less than 10 seconds. Absolutely. You are absolutely right. So let's get into this. Personalize your communications. The first way they're going to kind of switch off from you is if it's not personalized. I don't know about you, but when I approach a school, when I get approached by people that I've never heard from before, if it says like dear business owner or something like that, I switch off. I think, oh, that's not for me. That's been sent to everyone. So if you're sending one like dear head teacher or dear PE lead or dear art coordinator, they're going to switch off. You need to know their name. You need to do your research. You need to show them that you care about contacting their setting and that you're not just contacting all of them in the community, even if you are. It doesn't look like you are. Okay. You need to personalize your communications, but personalization over the next academic year, you are going to have your communication taken notice of if you're not just using their name, the name of the person that you want to speak to, but also personalizing the name of the school or the nursery, and maybe even throwing in a sentence that's completely personal to them. You know, there's like something you've seen them doing that's amazing. Maybe you've seen them connect with a charity, or you've seen something on social media where they had a special day that was celebrating something. You know, make a comment about that, because then they know this isn't just like some bulk communication going out to all the schools. It's very highly personalized to that particular setting and the person you want to read it, the person you are looking to cultivate a relationship with. You need to build trust and authority from the get-go. Don't start talking all about yourself at the beginning of your communication, but building trust is key. If they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. You need to communicate with authority so they see you as somebody that's going to fit in to their school or nursery. So they see you as a professional. And that can take many different forms. You might be doing lots of different things in your marketing to build authority, but that's what's going to build the trust at the end of the day. You know, something I talk about in the Approach to Schools challenge is maybe coming up with finding a stat, a piece of research-based information for a school or nursery that talks about the problem that you solve. Okay, that would be an example of communicating with authority. You need to align with their challenges and their needs. You all know what they need from you. You all know what benefits your service has. But do you understand what I've identified as being the 7 critical challenges the schools and nurseries are facing over the next academic year? I will tell you what those 7 are. I'm not going to leave it a mystery. You're going to find out everything today so that you can start to implement some of this straight away. But you need to show them that you understand how they are feeling in the current climate, the current educational landscape, which is changing and is set to change even more in the current economy as well, the economic climate. there are so many changes happening at the moment that are presenting challenges for schools and nurseries. But every single person who has introduced themselves to me today has something that can very much address those challenges and align with those needs. So don't worry about that. When you offer demonstrations, it's about delivering value. This is again how you're building relationships, because now you're building relationship face to face. Now you are showing them how you might fit into their setting. Now you are showing them where their investment is going to go. Okay. So whereas in the past you might have been able to get like the low hanging fruit, maybe 20% of people that were ever going to buy from you, because they were looking for a PE teacher, they were looking for a music provider, they were looking for some extra PPA cover, whatever it might be, they were happy to buy from you there and then because they knew they needed it and you'd given them enough information for them to see that you would be an ideal fit for them. But for many schools and nurseries in your community, they're so busy dealing with all these different challenges, they almost can't see where an external provider could help them, you know? And in these cases, that's when you're nurturing them. So cultivating relationships is actually all about not just connecting, but nurturing. Okay. Offering a demonstration, offering an assembly, offering a consultation with the senior leadership team, all these things deliver value for them in some way so they can see what they would be investing in, because they do have challenges with time and resources. It might be easier to then get you to help them implement. So all of these things, when we start to talk about the critical challenges, it's all about helping schools implement the change that they want to make. You are all change makers as children's activity providers. That's why it's such a lovely industry for me to work in. Providing case studies or reports, again, you're showing schools what you know, you're showing things from a different point of view, you're showcasing different ways that you have either worked with schools and nurseries in the past or worked with children, or worked with teachers if you're there to work with the teachers. But demonstrating a case study of how you have helped get a child from A to B, even if this is like a testimonial from a parent at this case, or it's one particular school that you've worked with, and maybe it's the only school you've worked with, but you can write a case study on the change that you implemented in that school or nursery. That would be a really, really good way of starting to cultivate these relationships. Again, it's about building authority, which builds trust. Okay. Let me know if this is making sense. Let me know if you're already thinking, this is something I didn't do before and it's something I can definitely do now. Who's totally new? Let me know in the chat box. Are you totally new to working with schools and nurseries, or are you working with some? Have you worked with some in the past, but you want to work with more? Have you just delivered one-offs? Now it's about building these lasting partnerships for the next year and beyond. Let me know. Because we do want to focus on long-term partnerships rather than quick sales. Not just because this is going to help the bottom line in your business, but because it's going to really benefit the school as well. We are creating impact on outcomes for the school, impact on income for you as a business owner, which is a very exciting position to be in because it truly is a winning situation. So some people are talking to me in the chat box. Let's see where we're at. With that, let me know. Totally new. Jennifer's totally new. It's a career change. Jennifer, what were you doing before? Louise, totally new. Charlene, totally new. Busy Brains used to be a deputy head teacher. I've never reached out to schools as a seller. As a deputy head, you'll have a huge insight though into this. Complete novice, offered a one-off free term of football coaching to our local school. Sammy's been offering demos, made a few long-term relationships, need help, more consistency with marketing. I hear that all the time, Sammy. Is that consistency? It's your consistent action that's going to bring consistent results, and it is consistently marketing. Some people think they only need to market their business when they need more money, but actually you need to market your business even when you're making tons of money. Look at Coca-Cola. Do they stop marketing their business when they're selling lots of Coca-Cola? No, they keep marketing all of the time, even though they're extremely successful brands. Jack's in about 4. Last summer was your first. Sarah's done demos. couple of paid sessions, looking to build longer relationships. Yeah. So lots of us are in the same boat. It's good to know where you're all at to know how to pitch this training. So it's good for you to be having this training this morning to understand this about long-term partnerships, because this has been the biggest aha moment for my clients. So I work with about 100 clients at any one time in the Approaching Schools Academy. And the biggest game changer they all tell me is learning about the long-term partnership side of things and how to make that happen. Not just in their business, but in the schools and nurseries they may have worked with in the past, the schools and nurseries they're working with now, schools and nurseries they want to work with in the future. The biggest game changer for them, I'm going to come on to in terms of packaging your services, offering annual contracts. These are the things that will actually build your stable business over the next academic year. So I think it's good for you to learn this from the get-go, because so many people, they might have done my free challenge and just kind of done it once and then expected that to be it and thinking, well, now what? But actually, if you start building these long-term partnerships from the get-go, you're going to have a stable business, but you're going to add more value to the school. Schools more likely to recommend you to other schools. It is a winning situation. So what do I mean by lasting? It becomes a sustainable investment for them. Schools and nurseries are very discerning with their cash. They have to be. We know schools and nurseries, typically in the media, we hear they're strapped for cash all the time. They do have budgets. They do have funding. Nurseries can apply for grants. If they're part of the local authority. If they're private nurseries, well, they've got private fee paying. They've got, some income streams for the government. We're not sure yet how helpful that is to the nursery itself. Time will tell on that. But in all schools and nurseries, they do have budgets and they do have money they've got to spend. In some cases, that money is ring fenced and they've got to spend it on an activity or a service like yours. Why not make it yours? But it has to be a sustainable investment for them to see the value in paying that amount of money to anything, whether it's your business or not. So a sustainable investment is one that keeps paying out over a long period of time. Might not be paying out in money, might be paying out in outcomes for the children in the school ultimately. It's a consistent and reliable income for you. It's not like one-off, oh my goodness, have to approach 100 more schools because I've already done a load of workshops. Now I'm going to have to go out further into a further geographical area just to find more schools that haven't worked with me. No, because you don't have to deliver one-off workshops. It can become a consistent, reliable income for you just by working with a few. You could have a more profitable business than somebody else down the road doing what you do in less schools and nurseries than them. So long as you are providing maximum value to that school or nursery, you might not need 20 schools. You might just need 5 that bring you a consistent and reliable income. There's something to think about. You don't always have to stretch yourself too thin. Progression of learning for the pupils. It's more valuable for a school or nursery to be providing progression of learning by having you in for a whole year and beyond that than having you in as a one-off. I want you to understand this. You might find it easier to sell a 12-month contract than to sell a one-off enrichment workshop. That was the biggest eye-opener for my Approaching Schools Academy members when they learnt my entire sales strategy. A stable business during changes to education and the economy. What changes are currently happening? We know about the economy. We hear it in the news all the time, don't we? Recession this, crisis this, crisis that. When I set up my dance business and started partnering with schools and nurseries in 2009, when I left teaching, there was the credit crunch. So there's always a big scary name peddled by the media and the government, but it's always amounts to the same thing. You can still build a stable business by working with schools and nurseries because education will always be here. There are huge changes coming at the moment to education. There is going to be curriculum reform of some sort. Every time, and I've worked in education for over 20 years now, every time we have a new government, there are changes. Okay, so there will be inevitable changes with a Labour government. When I was a primary school teacher, I quite liked working under a Labour government. You know, we had a lot of good things coming to our school, and the way that we used to teach very kind of creatively as well. There will be an inevitable focus on core subjects with whatever Labour decide to do with the curriculum. They're also bringing in things that providers can potentially help implement schools and nurseries. So a bigger focus on wraparound care, like the breakfast clubs they're looking to introduce. Um, there's going to be more intervention for SEND children. Some of you said you're specifically working with SEN. So there's going to be quite a few different things coming into play, and it's it's I always get excited when there are changes made to education because it's your opportunity to help a school or nursery implement change. Okay, but there have been so many different eras of education throughout the years. It's where you want to be right now. You know that these changes are coming. You want to be getting into schools and nurseries now so that you're the person they think of when they start implementing this change. And this is what I mean by becoming the go-to provider in your schools and your community. Because if you become the go-to provider in your school, if you can get into the school now, before these changes have even really started, who are they going to think of when they're saying, right, we need to provide more breakfast clubs? And you're already in the school providing after school, you're going to be a safer option for them, if you like. Children know you, teachers know you, school trusts you. You are in a very good position then to start helping them implement this change. So whenever you can establish yourself within the life of a school or a nursery, the more likely the people in that school or nursery are to think of you when they need something else, when they need something over and above what you currently provide, instead of going to one of your competitors. Okay. And you can become the go-to provider in your community because guess what? There really is nothing like the endorsement you can have of working with schools and nurseries. Parents see that schools are very discerning about who they bring in. So if you are the local provider that also works in all the schools and nurseries, who are the parents more likely to send their children to when you've got community classes? In the evenings, at the weekends, they're more likely to go to you because they know that you've passed all of the checks that schools make. Sadly, the children's activity industry is unregulated, but at least those parents can have the satisfaction that school's already done their due diligence on you. They already know you're the go-to choice. They don't even have to do their research as to whether you've got this DBS and this insurance. They know you've got it all because you work with the schools and nurseries. They wouldn't be letting you in otherwise. So it is a great way of building credibility for you to become the go-to provider, not just in the schools and nurseries you currently work in or are about to start working in, but also within your community as a whole. So I've been alluding to this all along because we've got to be academic about this. We've got to show how we fit into their curriculum. We've got to show how we can provide long-term continuity of learning for the schools and nurseries. But from a lot of research I've been doing over the past few months, I've identified 7 critical challenges from a number of different sources. Number 1, curriculum and attainment. I want you to tell me in the chat box, how does your service or product help a school with their curriculum and attainment? Let me know in the comments below. It's got to be the number 1 reason, hasn't it? These aren't in any specific order, by the way. They're all challenges. Budgets and funding we know about. But can you save a school time and money by delivering what you do? In some cases, there are some of you here that will even be able to help make a school or nursery money by delivering what you do. It could be as simple as hiring the hall to deliver your club. That could be how you're helping the school to make money doing what you're doing. But it also could be maybe you're working with a private nursery and you are helping them become the most sought after nursery in their area. And all the parents are paying their fees on the days that you are providing your activities. What an amazing position to be able to put a nursery in. So it's not always the case that your service is taking away money. Your service is actually adding money to their budget in some cases. But even if you don't fall into that bracket, if you're saving them time and money, from how they would deliver it via alternative methods, maybe via your maybe via your competitors, maybe via something they could do in-house, because that's your greatest competition this academic year, is anything a school or nursery could provide without getting anyone in to deliver it, something they could provide via their existing teachers and resources. That's your biggest competition. Okay. So tell me, how do you help schools and nurseries with their budget and funding if you do? Number 3, safeguarding and well-being. How do you help children with their well-being? Huge priority. Okay. I am of the opinion that everybody here is in the business of helping children with their well-being. You know, you might not have realized it if you've created something that's going to help children with their times tables, but believe it or not, you are absolutely still helping children with their well-being. Okay. Number 4, staff retention and recruitment. We know that staff are leaving schools in their droves. Okay. Many of us were former teachers ourselves. We know this. If we truly want to help a school, how can we help with staff retention in some way? And it comes on to point 5. Point 4 and point 5 are very closely linked because some people are helping with workload and well-being. Some people are providing CPD and development for staff. Some people are providing well-being days for staff. All of that is going to help with the retention and recruitment. We know Labour are going to be on a big recruitment drive this year anyway, and they've got their own incentives. But is there anything that you can do in the meantime that's actually going to help staff in some way? Even when you're working directly with the children, you can be upskilling class teachers. Okay. When you deliver PPA cover, you're helping with staff workload. In turn, it's going to help their well-being. In turn, it's going to help their retention. So you see how these things all feed into each other. Number 6, school avoidance and attendance. So I mentioned that the number of emotionally based school avoiders has doubled since pre-pandemic levels, and it's only getting worse without the intervention. Do you provide some kind of emotional intervention for children that's going to help them feel excited to go to school, and in turn is going to help the school with their attendance report? Is that something you do? Number 7, special educational needs support. We know Labour are going to start addressing this, but can you address this in your local community? I know we've got some people that want to work specifically with SEND live on this chat today as well. So let me know, how does what you provide help with one of those critical challenges in some way? Everyone will be able to find one critical challenge that they help with. Some of you might be able to help with several of those. Let me know in the chat box. So Ryan services are parent funded, which means the marketing is value led. So that's great. And obviously, if the parents are funding it, it's something that the school doesn't have to worry about their budget to deliver it. So that's not the hurdle you need to get over with regards to getting your business into schools and nurseries. You might have other challenges in terms of communicating value with time constraints. So if you are delivering something that wouldn't have a money objection, it might have a time objection. So we know schools are also strapped for time. So how do you help them to fit in with their timetable in some way? So maybe be thinking about that for you. Sammy, we run enterprise workshops to help schools to make money. Absolutely love that, Sammy. And it's the way we've got to go. It's if we feel the education system is broken, we've got to put things in schools and nurseries that are going to help children with real life school skills. We've got Fumi, one of my brand new Approaching Schools Academy members, who won't mind me saying she delivers financial learning and financial literacy to children in schools. And it's very much needed. I've worked with people who run kind of entrepreneurship clubs, and Sammy, you're doing enterprise workshops, amazing stuff. Busy Brains, you help children learn their times tables. It's important for life. Math standards and year 4 times tables check. Exactly. There's just so much with what you do that's going to help a school, as you well know, with the experience you have. Carmen, I'm teaching French, which is taught in primary school and secondary school. Students tend to drop MFL because of the lack of specialist teacher. Yeah, absolutely. And you're really equipping children for that transition, aren't you? And that's a huge thing. And sometimes schools are apportioning budgets to help children manage transitions. John, getting children to be more active boosts their attention span. Exactly. Absolutely. Will help in that wider ripple effect of focus and concentration, which is going to help behavior, which is helping well-being, which is helping the everyone, the teachers as well. It's helping them with their stress levels. Amazing. Zoe, our storytelling and drama workshops will help with social skills. Speaking and listening down the line will help with their reading and writing. Absolutely. So it's thinking about this sustainable investment, this impact that you are making, not just directly with what you're doing right now, but what will ultimately help the children and the teachers in years to come. That's part of becoming a sustainable investment for a school or nursery. We can help with 6 out of 7. That's amazing, Sammy. 6 of those challenges. Brilliant. I'd be curious to know, Sammy, which one you think you can't help with, because I bet there's a way. Sarah, safeguarding and well-being, possibly school avoidance and attendance. If I could grow to take a dog into schools regularly to greet the children in the mornings. Ah, how amazing to have a therapy dog in schools. I would have loved that, Sarah, as a child. Could link with SEND support too. Absolutely. There would be specific children that you could provide interventions for there. Amazing stuff. Do you see how what you all deliver, it goes so far beyond what you actually deliver that creates impact and creates sustainable change? This is amazing stuff. Your sales, I mentioned, can't have a business without sales, but so many people in your industry are shying away from the sales part. And no, you won't get much success from delivering free tasters if you don't have a sales strategy. So effective strategies for selling to the senior leadership team that Approaching Schools Academy members have been using to bring home an extra £2,000 per month. The reason I've used these as examples is because most people tell me that that's what they want to make. They want to make an extra £2,000 per month. So that's what I've looked at. I've said to my clients, what is the biggest thing that you feel moved the needle into your business to get you to the point where you were having an extra 2K take home on top of what your business currently makes? And these are the sorts of things they tell me, is that in the academy, we teach you to have different options because we know different schools have different budgets, different priorities, different ways that they've already spent their budget, different things they'd like to spend their budget on. So you need to have different options. You can't really just try and sell one thing to schools and nurseries these days because you don't know if they want that one thing. You don't know if they've got time for you to deliver that one thing. If you're only approaching a school to deliver clubs, you don't know if that school has a need for clubs right now, but it might be that what you deliver is better suited to covering their PPA, for example. And you could go in during the school day or put a team member in. Or you might have an offering that is one price, but you have a couple of other offerings that you could use to suit different budgets. So it's not about selling one thing at one price anymore. It's about having this different scale and being able to provide something bespoke, which I'll come on to in a moment, because you'll always sell more that way. Packages that add more value. So maybe you're not just delivering clubs, you're delivering clubs and PPA, and you're going to do some curriculum enrichment days as topic hooks throughout the year. That's a higher value package to a school to know that they're going to have like World Book Day covered. They're going to have Children's Mental Health Week covered. They're going to have Black History Month covered because you're adding extra value. You're not just simply going in to deliver a club anymore. If you are there solely to deliver PPA cover in a school day, but it would help if there were targeted children that could also come and see you at lunchtime. That's going to add more value to the school for those particular pupils. That would be helpful if you also added in some interventions for them. So there are so many ways you could package your services to add more value to a school. They're always going to buy into a package that adds more value than one that adds less value. And I know that sounds obvious, but what I want to highlight here is that means they might prefer to spend more money with you than less. One of my clients, he's done exceptionally well in schools. I'm going to give him as an example at the end to help you, inspire you to have success with your business this year. He had a school basically overlook him for years in terms of delivering anything extra additional to his clubs in the schools because he wasn't showing them how it would value the whole school and what the price was according to that. He was only showing them, well, this is how it could help one particular class and this is the price. When he created a package to benefit 500 pupils across the school for an entire year, not just as a one-off, it cost a lot more. He's just invoiced a school for a lot of money. A lot more, maybe I would say maybe 3 times more than he had imagined once before, because he's able to add that more value. So if you want to 3 times your income, I'm not saying it has to just be 3 times, it might be more. But in this particular case, he 3 times what he would normally invoice to a school for the year because he was able to add more value. So this is a real eye opener to some of my Approaching Schools Academy members, that they can actually sell quicker and easier by adding more value and it costing more to a school than the packages that cost less. Okay, so you need to price effectively, or you might be overlooked. Annual contracts, a big game changer for my Approaching Schools Academy members. So make sure that is one of your options. When I say options to suit different budgets, make sure there's an annual contract option. Tailored to meet their needs. You'll always make more sales if you take orders from them instead of telling them what you've got. Always ask them what they need. Always ask them what they want. Tailor your offerings to meet those needs. They will buy more from you. They may buy things that you'd never considered selling. You know, maybe they've got topic work coming up. I remember a school, we were delivering street dance demos, but the schools were coming back and saying, oh, well, we've got a topic on Africa coming up. Could you do Lion King workshops? We've got a topic on ancient Egyptians coming up. Could you do mummy workshops? I just remember thinking that's really random, a mummy workshop. But one of my teachers went out and did it and they loved it and they booked her again the next year for it. But you've got to be tailored to meet their needs. You know, if they can see it fitting in with a topic, amazing. One of my Approaching Schools Academy members, Sam, she delivers storytelling in schools and nurseries. Her conversion rate went up by about 50%, I think. It was huge for her when she started telling them what topics she could fit in with. So it's got to be tailored to meet their needs. And upsells and downsells. So a lot of people don't realize that if a school doesn't buy your package straight away, there are other things you could potentially offer them throughout the year that might pique their interest and re-engage them. Equally, you might already be working in a school and there might be other opportunities for you to add value where they're going to buy more from you for longer. So that is a very quick overview because I know we're stretched for time and I've been talking for way longer than I expected to, but I wanted you to understand the importance of this, that this is what's been moving the needle in their businesses for so many of my Approaching Schools Academy members. That's how they've made the extra, typically a 24 to 25 grand extra per year. They've been making doing this. And so it isn't about delivering a free taster and running away. It is about having flexible options. And sometimes it is about having something that is higher priced the school's going to take more notice of because ultimately it adds more value to them. So success is not just success for you in your business, it's success for the school because ultimately that's how it becomes a long-term lasting partnership. So this is all about how to achieve your business goals in a way that adds incredible value to a school and impacts countless children's lives in the process. This is where I want you to all be at. I thought it might be helpful for you to understand the range of people I work with and how they made an extra £2,000 per month. So Nikki in her cookery and nutrition business, she demonstrates so much value when she goes and does her free taster that she's got them going away and doing funding bids for her. Now, what I thought you would find interesting about Nikki's story is she works specifically with schools in deprived areas. She is not chasing the affluent areas in her community. She is going specifically to schools with disadvantaged pupils for 2 reasons. Number one, it is part of her vision that she is going to help more children with their nutrition, and the ones that need it the most, unfortunately, are in those areas where they're slightly more pockets of kind of economic deprivation and things like that. However, it means she's reaching the people that need her most, so she's able to impact the most change. But also, interestingly, she finds the schools have more money in those areas to spend on what she does because she taps into the pupil premium budget. Okay, so when there are children who are more likely to need free school meals, less likely to get a place in an extracurricular club because their parents can't afford to pay for it, they are rewarded pupil premium money by the local authority. School decides how to spend it ultimately. Nikki shows so much value, schools want to spend it on her. So she goes to those schools in those areas. So it's not about thinking, oh, there's tons of schools in my areas that just don't have the money. They may have money to do what you do if you communicate the value in the right way. Jackie has a drama business. She had only done drama in the community, a very successful established business that I even worked for once as a freelance dance teacher. But Jackie had never considered working with schools and nurseries as an additional income stream. When she did, she made an extra £30,000 in her first year, which equates to about 2.5 grand per month. And this was all through clubs. You don't necessarily have to be delivering all throughout the school day to make an extra £2,000 per month. You might just do clubs. Jackie also didn't do this herself. She put team members in, which meant her profit went down. But her profit didn't go down overall. Her profit increased by a third. That's 33%. So you might be thinking, oh, I can't expand by putting teachers in because the profit of each class will go down. The profit of her overall business went up by using this model. So I thought that was an inspiring one to show you that it doesn't always have to be you going out and delivering the teaching yourself. It might be your teachers. Nikki started building a team now because she's totally fully booked as well. Kath went from most of her nurseries closing down during the pandemic and after the pandemic to putting modern foreign languages into another 20 schools and nurseries. Okay. She ended up having to like deliver sessions to children while they were eating their morning snack just to fit in the demand for her modern foreign languages sessions, mainly in nurseries. I think that works. She's got a few clubs as well. Kath is the person I was talking about when she got into a chain of nurseries. So 5 of those nurseries were all part of one chain. Andy, I mentioned, got 7 schools from a multi-academy trust chain. Those of you who were mentioning academies. Great thing about academies right now, they get their funding in September, not April. So academies work slightly different with funding as well. Andy delivers coding and robotics to schools. He replaced his head of department salary. So he came from teaching to delivering coding and robotics, replaced his head of department salary. As I say, employed these different strategies. He said the biggest game changer for him was creating the packages because it's something he hadn't been doing previously in his business. In fact, when he came to me, he was just delivering one club for free in a local school. So we changed that first. We got that school paying him first and foremost, and then we looked at how we could scale it to other schools. And Lisa delivering science. I know somebody here said they were science. Lisa is delivering practical science workshops. Her challenge was actually that she is delivering in rural South Wales, where there are a high proportion of Welsh medium speaking schools, and doesn't speak fluent Welsh herself. So that was a challenge to overcome. But as it happened, she was able to demonstrate so much value in her free demo. Schools didn't care. Schools were like, come in anyway, it's fine. And this is the thing, right? When we adopt this method of demonstrating and communicating the value that we provide, schools get out of their own way. Those hurdles and challenges lift. You don't have to worry about handling objections when you can preempt what those objections are by delivering an absolute outstanding lesson and then having a sales strategy in place. So I know we've got to go, so I want to leave you with this. Because when they see the value, they will find the budget. I've already mentioned how this very much applies to Nikki's situation, where schools were going off and doing funding bids and coming back with money to spend on her services. I've already mentioned that this really worked for Lisa when there was a very real objection of, well, I want to work with Welsh medium schools, but I don't speak Welsh. She showed them the value. They wanted to bring her in anyway. So there are so many different hurdles that you might have had or you might have foreseen getting into schools and nurseries. When you follow this process and you start cultivating these relationships, you start creating lasting impact. You make sure you communicate how it aligns with academic needs. You actually don't shy away from the sales. You make sure you have sales conversations with the senior leadership teams. You will make a success of your business and you will see tremendous impact in the schools and communities you work in as well. So I hope that has been inspiring for you today. I hope there's something you can take away and implement. Please let me know in the chat what you will be taking action on based on today's training. Please let me know if you had an aha moment. I would love to know what that is. And if you would like some help with implementing this, because maybe you've never written an email or a letter to schools and nurseries in the past and you're not sure what to say, or maybe you have done it in the past but you didn't get much response. This is what the Approaching Schools Challenge was set up to solve for you. We're running it on the 30th of September because we are all about responsible communications with schools and nurseries. I don't like to bombard schools and nurseries at the very beginning of a term as a former teacher myself. So that's why we're doing it on the 30th of September. You can get yourself registered at ceryskeneally.co.uk. Please pop any questions for me in the chat while I'm getting you this link for those of you who are here live. There you go, there's that one. So you can, if you've got access to the meeting chat, copy and paste that into a browser ready for after this training. Let me know if there are any questions. There will also be an opportunity to ask me questions every single night of the week, starting the 30th of September, if you do want to join us on the Approaching Schools Challenge. We have had let me get this right, 5,605 children's activity and education and therapy providers have taken this challenge now with amazing results over the last 5 years. I'd love you to join whether you've done it before or whether you are completely new. So let me know what you're implementing. Let me know if there's any questions. And this has been amazing. Thank you. I've got so many ideas. Brilliant. You are more than welcome. Please come and join me on the challenge because we get 5 days together instead of 45 minutes. Ryan, interesting. Good. I hope there's something you can implement there, Ryan, or think about a little bit differently for your business. You are welcome, Busy Brains. Your app sounds amazing. Sarah, thanks, Cerys. Looking forward to doing the Approaching Schools Challenge again. So much still to learn. You hear it with different ears each time, don't you? And people have different focuses every term that they do it. You know, you might want to get into nurseries this time. I don't know. Do you want to get dogs into nurseries? That would be interesting as well. Carmen, thank you. I'm booked for the challenge. Amazing, Carmen. Louise, I wish I've had this hour much earlier. I was exactly the same, you know, because I tried and tested these strategies for 10 years before arriving on a strategy that didn't just work for me and my business, but worked for everybody else that I was working with too. And I didn't start teaching it to other people until I knew it would work for other niches. That was very important to me. And that's why I have now worked with such a wide range of niches as well. Let me stop the share so I can see you all. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. Thank you so much to the team at LoveAdmin for having me. I hope this was useful. Anyone that's had to duck in and out, I know there were a few connectivity issues. There is a recording available for you as well.